What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to a little pregame video here before the Canadiens take on the Buffalo Sabres, where I normally am. I haven't missed a Habs game in Buffalo in a while, since the COVID days. Let's just put it that way. Actually, when the Canadiens acquired Samuel Montembeault and he got lit up for 2 games in a row in October of 2021, and we all thought, well, what the heck are we going to do with this guy? Now he's signed to a 3-year extension. So in a couple of years, things can really turn around. So all the power to that. Thank you all also for understanding me stepping away from the channel for a couple of days to tend to some personal matters. Everything's good. So thank you so much for the support in that regard. And I appreciate it. And no, I'm not taking a break from the channel because of any negative comments. So for those who think that I can't handle the heat of doing this thing, I wouldn't be doing it if I couldn't handle the fact that not everyone's going to agree with everything you have to say on this channel. So anyway, it wasn't many of you that thought that, but regardless, tonight, I won't be able to attend the Sabres game, Habs Sabres game, but let's talk about what's actually in the title of this video, right? So why am I saying that Slavkovsky is more mature than Arber Xhekaj? So I figured let's have something to talk about on top of, talking about this game tonight. And, I haven't had a chance really to talk about at all the fact that Arber Xhekaj was sent down to Laval and is, whether he's on a conditioning stint or not, it was not made very clear by the Montreal Canadiens. But what seems to have been made clear, at least in his first game play, was that maybe he was told not to fight and not be the Arber Xhekaj that he's come to know himself and everybody else, frankly, for that matter, around the NHL and for those that watch him. So whether that's true or not, what I do believe is true, at least at this current moment, as to at least part of the reason, and it's not comparing the two players, I'm just observing from afar here, but it just seems like, this was mentioned also that Juraj Slafkovsky is very coachable. And I'm not saying that Arber Xhekaj is not, of course not. But what I am saying, though, is that just in terms of where they're at in establishing their identities as NHL players, I think Juraj Slafkovsky is in a zone where he's blocking out the noise. And he's lately, as we've seen, despite the results not always being there every game, we're starting to see him be more of a physical presence on the ice, using his body, learning how to use his body. And the fact that he was asked, by Stu Cowan recently, how did you have to use your body when you were growing up playing hockey? Because the answer that he got was no. I mean, Slavkovsky was just so big. He was bigger than everybody else that it just wasn't something he had to do. He was able to keep the puck away from other players just by the nature of his size and his ability to do so. And when it came to the physical side of the game, it just, guys would bounce off him, and it just wasn't a factor as much as it is now in the NHL, where there's guys that are paid to knock you off the puck. There's guys that are paid to do a lot of things to make your life difficult in the NHL. And Slavkovsky is just in a different place than Arber right now, right? So I feel like the maturity, in terms of maturity as a player, and I can't say this as a person, they both seem like really nice guys, and they're still kids. If you want to admit it or not, they're still kids, right? And I think that Slavkovsky, in terms of from a maturity standpoint, has an edge on Arber right now. So that's why, part of the reason why he's still in the NHL, and also why he's on the top line with the Montreal Canadiens right now, playing with Suzuki and Caulfield and really starting to build that chemistry and the confidence in his own personal game that's allowing him to be given this opportunity because he's earned it first. We saw him go up and down the lineup a little bit, Slavkovsky, already this season, and now we see him playing with Nick and Cole and actually playing well. Playing pretty decently from what I've heard against the LA Kings the other night, despite another 4-0 shutout against the Kings. My gosh, we got to figure out how to put a puck past them. And that 1-3-1 is just killing them, right? That 1-3-1 system that the LA Kings play. So I just want to pull up Arber Xhekaj on Hockey DB really quickly right now. And I'm doing this again in one take with limited time. As I told you guys, I would jump on here before the game. We will talk after the game. Can't wait to do that with you guys. I love to break down the games with you, but I mean, Arber Xhekaj, just looking at it here, is 22 years old, going to be 23 in just over a month on January 30th, right? Juraj Slafkovsky is going to be 20 in a few months, and at the end of March, I think March 30th is his birthday. And the maturity and the poise that Slavkovsky's showing right now, it's really impressive in terms of just his progression over the last couple of weeks, but also just being calm and just taking everything in stride. And we know the high motor that Arber Xhekaj plays with. I brought on my buddy Brandon Caputo onto the channel last year before Arber played a single game with the Canadiens, and even before he even made the Canadiens. And what I was seeing in his play so far this season was a bit of a lack of discipline and not being able to harness that high motor, high energy style gameplay that he plays. Tough game. We saw him, go right after Ryan Reeves in game 1 of the season, and almost, it wasn't even really a fight, right? But we saw him really kind of maybe not out muscle him. I don't know, maybe a little bit, but we just saw that he was going to try to come into his own even more so as a tough guy, as a strong player. But we know that Arber Xhekaj is a really good hockey player, right? So we don't want to lose the sides of his game that are really going to benefit the Canadiens long term. We saw him taking costly penalties earlier this season. We saw the last several games before he got injured that he was taking a lot less penalties. I pointed that out to you guys. But I just think that the time was now, especially with Arber Xhekaj's salary situation. I mean, he's still in his entry-level deal with the Canadiens, and he doesn't have to clear waivers. He can go right down to Laval and develop his game even more. And that's a beautiful thing to see. He gets to take part in the teddy bear game tonight in Laval. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what I saw, is that they're doing a teddy bear toss, just like they do in the OHL. But I just think that the situation right now and the strides that Slavkovsky's been able to take, it's clear why they made this decision to have him stick in the NHL right now. And maybe things will continue to get better. Maybe he'll take a step back. I don't know. But I do think this time in Laval, I think Arber needed it. That's what I wanted to say, was that I really think that Arber needed to be reined in a little bit, and not just for the sake of the development of his game, but also for his mental health too, his mental game, and just who you're becoming as an NHLer. I think he needed this bit of humble pie to take a step back and realize what he still has to work on, and how, if he's going to play this rough, tough, high motor game for a long career and sustain it, he's going to have to rein it in sometimes and work on the parts of his game that he needs to, while he's still young enough and impressionable enough that he's going to listen, right? You don't want a player to be set in their ways and try to change them years later. It's just going to be way harder to do. All right, so the Canadiens are taking on the Sabres tonight. The main lineup change for you is that Yoel Armia is going to be coming in for Mike Pizzetta. Caden Primo is going to be getting the start in net for the Canadiens. Rasmus Dahlin is apparently healthy enough to play tonight on the second pairing with the Buffalo Sabres. In fact, I even got their lineup here too. So he'll be playing alongside a player's name I still can't pronounce right now, but it's Henri Jokiaru, I believe it is. But Owen Power is taking the top spot on the defensive pair for the Sabres right now with Matthias Samuelsson, which is impressive too. But, you got a healthy Tage Thompson for the Buffalo Sabres right now. The first game against Buffalo that I went to, where David Savard, by the way, who's also close to returning from injury, had that amazing shift where he broke his skate blade and also hurt his ankle. It was his ankle, I believe it was, on that crazy penalty kill. That was the highlight of the game, when David Savard actually got injured. And I don't mean that in the sense of like that was the highlight. It was the way he finished that playoff, not even being able to move practically, and still helping kill that penalty off for the Canadiens. So he'll be back. He'll be back very soon. But, it wasn't really an entertaining game. Not as entertaining as I've seen in the past with Sabres Habs games. I've seen a lot of them, seen a lot of Habs wins, but on a Saturday night, I feel like the entertainment value will be a lot better. And the Sabres are streaming their games for free online. So you can catch the game online. Just Google it and see where you can watch their games, including this one. So I expect a better Buffalo Sabres team to play against the Canadiens today. I really do. And it's going to be a challenge, but it's also hopefully going to be a good, more even, entertaining game from both sides. I feel like that's what I'm hoping for anyway. Going through the Canadiens lineup again, you got Slavkovsky with Nick and Cole on the top line, Sean Monahan on the second line on the wing with Jake Evans and Josh Anderson, Christian Dvorak centering Tanner Pearson and Brendan Gallagher. Their steady line also, Jesse Ullinen playing with Mitchell Stevens and Yoel Armia on the right. And then defensive pairs, no surprises, no real big changes, but Mike Matheson pairing up with Gustav Lindstrom, who's been playing decently well. He's been getting a little bit better as time goes on. Caden Gooley playing with Justin Barron, who's having himself a breakout season, Justin Barron is. And then Jaden Struble holding tight to that spot that Arber Xhekaj would have held. So another factor into the Xhekaj decision is Jaden Struble's coming up and showed quite the poise and maturity with his first set of NHL games here. He's playing really well, playing with Jonathan Kovacevic, Arber Xhekaj's good buddy. So that's all I got for a pregame, guys. That's everything for now. We'll see you post-game, though, later tonight or first thing tomorrow morning after this game. It's great to be back. Love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. If you want to join the Deke Squad, you can do that and support this channel as a member by hitting the join button on your mobile or your desktop device. Either way, those who watch, thank you so much for doing that. We'll see you guys real soon. Thanks, guys.